Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the live stream tonight. I hope you're all very well. So I'm just going to say a big hello to everyone who's on the stream tonight. I hope you can all hear me. So we have John, great to see you. Kanye West won. Won what? The toss, as we say, in regards to football. We have Killer, great to have you on. Killer, thanks for moderating once again. We have Dano, great to see you, Dano. Tiny Demolition Lover, great to see you. We have Dude, great to see you. Red Hand, I'm not sure what that's about. We have Toby, great to see you. What's Trump up to now? Yes. Marilena, great to have you on once again. John O'Sullivan, great to see you. Gingers, great to see you. Akismad, great to have you on. Enzo the God, great to see you. We have Kenny, hope you're well in California. We have Archangel, great to see you, hope you're well. Andrew, great to see you, Andrew. Elliot, great to see you. Hola. Uni, great to see you. Raven, great to see you. Who else have we got? Night Raven as well, great to have you on. Jorg, great to see you. Ministerial, I hope you're well, hope you're recovered. I know you're not fully recovered, but hope you're making a good recovery. We have Jean, great to see you. Katrina, great to see you. William, great to have you on. English Viking, great to see you on again. We have Glasgow Kiss, great to see you, Glasgow. Cotton Cat, great to have you on, Cotton. Jean, I think I said it already. Reagan Elite, great to see you. Aura Man, great to have you on. Tom, great to have you on, Tom. Hope you're well. We have Draconic, great to see you. We have Eddie. Oh, we're up to 116. That's fantastic. Dimitar, Martin Otto, great to see you. C Mastris, great to see you. Kendra, great to have you on again, Kendra. Hope you're well. Stuart, Edinus, FSM, Stuart, Barry. Who else? Hap, Bud He. Or H. Okay, great to Alexis, I see. Lindsay. Great to have everyone on tonight. I hope everyone is well. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, of course, when I start, when I prepare the stream, I prepare some topics to talk about, and then obviously everything changes almost at the last minute. So I try to be quite general, but we will talk of course first about Priti Patel. Boris Johnson talking, about how important it is to stamp out bullying, and then what does he do? He stands by Priti Patel. Mart G, buonasera, hope you're well. We have Michael Taylor, great to see you. Wonder who is first to log in as Dido Harding. Jonathan, great to see you, Jonathan. So I just want to read quickly a bit about this case, of course, with Priti Patel. So Boris Johnson advisor quits after being overruled on Priti Patel bullying report. So a report has come out that Priti Patel bullied a senior civil servant. So I actually did a video about this at the beginning of the year. I think it was sometime in January or early February, where Mal M, great to see you. Lulu's Corner, great to see you. It was about this civil servant who was continually bullied by Priti Patel, and he decided, I can't take any more of this, and he quit. And he took the government to court, and now this report has come out that Priti Patel was guilty of bullying. Now I'm going to show you an interesting video in a moment with Matt Hancock trying to and failing to defend this, but let's read this report here first. So it says Boris Johnson drove his own ethics advisor to quit. If you have, I didn't actually know that Boris Johnson had an ethics advisor. So the idea that Boris Johnson's ethics advisor actually quit tells you something, doesn't it? The idea that why would Boris Johnson have an ethics advisor? Boris, you shouldn't do that. Okay, I'll do that. What sort of things did this ethics advisor advise him to do? Like when it came to free school meals for children, what did the ethics advisor tell him to do? Or was it just one of these spin doctors when it came to ethics? So something like, we don't want to provide free school meals for children, poor children. So how can we get around this? We need a PR stunt or something like that. But from an ethical point of view, I have no idea. She's not a bully, Max. She just shouts and swears at innocent people. She's vile. Trump has just given a speech in the White House that he is responsible for the Pfizer COVID vaccine. That it would have taken 4 years if it wasn't for Trump. God. I don't think Trump should be promoting the vaccine too much, because I'm pretty sure that most of his supporters wouldn't take a vaccine anyway. So anyway, back to Boris Johnson's ethics advisor to quit on Friday as he ripped up the rule book by refusing to sack Priti Patel despite a formal investigation finding evidence that she bullied civil servants. After a Cabinet Office inquiry, Sir Alex Allen said the Home Secretary's conduct amounted to behaviour that can be described as bullying, noting instances of shouting and swearing and finding that she had breached the ministerial code, even if unintentionally. Now, I don't know what the ministerial code within the Conservative Party is. I didn't know they had one. Johnson seized on the caveat, seemingly dismissing the report by insisting that he judged the code had not been breached, and he had full confidence in Patel. What does Priti Patel have on Boris Johnson? This is the second time that she's been in hot water, and Boris Johnson has come to her aid. Please tell me that Boris Johnson and Priti Patel don't have something going on. Because I don't know what else Priti Patel has. Why does she care? Why does Boris Johnson care so much about her? She doesn't add anything to his administration. So he then urged Tory colleagues in a WhatsApp message, to form a square around the Pritster. God. In a statement issued at the same time as the Prime Minister's decision, Allen, who has also served Johnson's two predecessors, said, "I feel that it is right that I should now resign from my position as the Prime Minister's independent advisor on the code." So this idea that the colleagues should form a square around the Pritster. So, even though she has been found, in breach of the code, but Boris Johnson's response is, we need to protect her from the media, because the media will be asking, why is the Prime Minister not, he's shy, he's not he's not doing anything wrong, or he was right, or the code was not so clear, or whatever. So we have to find a reason. So I imagine many politicians who you're going to hear on, talk radio, not talk radio because they would just agree with Boris Johnson, but on Sky News or Channel 4, they'll be given their talking points on how to respond to this. Guys, if you head over to the link that Glasgow Kiss has posted there's a question, just a straw poll, just a quick poll on, not on whether you think she was she bullied, but I just want to get your opinions. I'll show it up later towards the end of the stream. But do you think she will eventually be fired? So I don't think she'll be fired at the moment, but maybe if this thing continues to create problems for Boris Johnson, perhaps she could be kicked out, or maybe she won't. So I'd like to hear your opinion on that. So there's a link in the chat. So let's continue. Dave Penman, the General Secretary of the FDA Union for Senior Civil Servants, said Johnson's decision to ignore the report's findings meant no civil servant will now have confidence that any complaint raised by the ministerial about ministerial behavior will be dealt with fairly or impartially. Of course, if you're told, normally in a company or in some sort of administration, if your boss acts like a bully, and you raise it with the the CEO or the board of directors or someone above them, and their immediate response is to defend that person, then what sort of message does that send to the staff, to the employees? You do not complain about the boss. If the boss bullies you, you get on with the work. There's no one going to be on your side. That's basically what the message Boris Johnson is sending to the civil service. Is this correct? This is not this is not Georgia. This is not we're not in Georgia anymore, okay? We're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. I voted not sure. She will eventually be sent out the front door with her box. It would be interesting to see what does happen if maybe it would be interesting to see how Carrie responds to this. Priti Patel, pretty awful, very awful, yeah, not just even pretty. She has much chance of being fired, as I have receiving a Viking burial, long ship and all the trimmings. Depends on where you live and how much money you have. Max, the bot says 2 minutes is a bit annoying. Every 2 minutes is a bit annoying. Max, the bot, every 2 minutes is a bit annoying. Maybe we can try and fix that. Boris is a bully. That's why he can't fire Priti Patel. Probably. Well, definitely he's a bully, but probably that's why he's not going to do it. Jonathan Evans, the chair of the Committee on Standards of Public Life, called Alan's resignation deeply concerning and added, this episode raises serious questions about the effectiveness of the current arrangements for investigating and responding to breaches of the ministerial code. Patel later apologized, saying in a broadcast interview on Friday evening, "I'm sorry that my behavior has upset people." This is a fake apology. She's not apologizing for her behavior. She said, I'm sorry my behavior upset people, and I never intentionally set out to upset anyone. Yes. I work with thousands of brilliant civil servants every single day, and we work together day in, day out to deliver on the agenda of this government, and I am absolutely sorry for anyone that I may have upset. That I have upset. But you're not sorry for bullying people. You're just saying you're sorry that people are upset. It's like if I break your window, break the window of your car, and then say, I'm sorry that you're upset that your window was broken. It's not a real apology. I'm not saying, I'm sorry I broke your window. She could have said, I'm sorry that I bullied these people. It was wrong of me to bully these people. But she's sorry that people are upset. It's one of these fake apologies. It's a bit like, I'm sorry if people have been offended by my words. Not, I'm sorry for the words that I said, or I'm sorry for offending. However, Sir Philip Rutnan, that was the guy I was talking about in the original video back, I think, at the beginning of the year, who resigned as the Home Office Permanent Secretary after accusing Patel of a vicious and orchestrated briefing campaign against him, added to the pressure on Patel by challenging a claim in the bullying report that she had been given no feedback about her behaviour by civil servants and was therefore unaware of the impact. This is not correct, Rutman said. As early as August 2019, the month after her appointment, she was advised she must not shout and swear at staff. I advised her on a number of further occasions between September 2019 and February 2020 about the need to treat staff with respect and to make changes to protect health, safety and well-being. In another remarkable admission, he said that he was at no stage asked to contribute evidence to the Cabinet Office investigation. what the hell? So you had a witness to this, and he wasn't invited to give evidence. It sounds a bit like a stitch up almost. But even if they weren't even able to stitch it up in a way that she would be exonerated. Johnson's decision to stand by Patel provoked fury amongst opposition MPs. The Liberal leader, Sir Keir Starmer, said, "If I were Prime Minister, the Home Secretary would have been removed from her job." It is hard to imagine another workplace in the UK where this behaviour would be condoned by those at the top. What the hell is Boris Johnson doing? Like, does he not understand this is going to be damaging to him? She's sorry she's been forced into half apology. Did she smirk as she said sorry? Probably, yes. Just want to read some of your comments there. The smirk says it all as the mask slips. Question is, would it be as big as a deal if a guy did it? The Tories all seem that to be a bit shouty. I don't think it would have made any difference. Patel's response was incredibly weak. She has never showed any humility or integrity since she needs to understand that her behavior can hurt others. This is about power dynamics. This is, I'm the boss, you're the employee, shut the F up and do what you're told. I do treat staff with respect. Now, where's my effing coffee? Guys, smash the like button. We're up to 236 viewers. That's fantastic, but we want lots of likes, get more people on the stream. Priti got her government training by watching episodes of The Thick of It. I actually haven't watched The Thick of It. I should see it, but I'm trying to compare with another. Was it General Manning? Was it in Blackadder? The other one. Shout and shout and shout again. And then punch the private if he doesn't get out onto the front line. Her grimace and pursed lips always look as she got a severe wind and stomach cramps, as this is trying to hold something in. Yes, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. I thought she smiled once, but it turned out she had wind. Yeah, smash the like button and be cursed with vinegar crisps. It's a good job you can't smell them from here. There's no need to be nasty when managing people. No, if you're nasty, it means that you're not in control. If you have to shout, it means you're not in control. I remember working with, I sometimes use this as an example. I remember in a job I worked in Ireland, I had a female boss, and she had a fantastic way of dealing with people. Whenever there was a problem, her response was never to say, "Okay, you're the problem," was the Duke of Wellington. Thanks very much for that, FSM. Her response was never to focus on the person, was to look at the problem. Okay, how did this problem occur? Let's try and find a way of avoiding running into this problem again in the future. Let's not blame people. Maybe someone was to blame, but instead of blaming people, let's try to work together to find a solution to this problem. And it was a pleasure to work with her, because you know that if you made a mistake, and of course people make mistakes, you weren't hounded, you weren't treated like a piece of crap. It was about, if somebody forgot to do something, let's create a checklist so that we don't forget it again. Don't worry, things like this happen. And in the same way that Priti Patel could be working with her staff, but obviously she felt, I have power and I have to demonstrate that power. She's the wrong person to be in that position. She should be, no offense to anyone who cleans floors, but she should be cleaning floors instead of running the Home Office. Patel shouted at the mechanic when she took her broomstick in for MOT. I might definitely want to think of it. Fairly sure you'd love it. Enjoy this from Limerick. Okay, thanks very much. I will check it out. The only thing I've ever shouted at when my kids or someone I was managing was about to hurt themselves. That makes perfect sense, you know. Trying to reason with the child. Don't look, if you put your hand inside the fire, you'll risk burning it. No, sometimes you need to shout it for safety reasons. You know, a shout could be necessary to frighten them so that they don't do it again. Trying to reason maybe is not. But I think, you know, with adults, with staff, you need to treat people with respect. If you treat them with respect, they're more likely to work with you. If you treat them like crap, they're going to find ways not to work with you, or they'll work to rule, you know, do the basic work and that's it. There's no motivation for them to work harder, for example. Who wears the pants in the family? Alex Sire ran Priti Patel's office when she was an international development secretary until she was slammed for paying him tens of thousands of pounds to do so. She's a typical narcissist. That smirk, the lack of respect, unwillingness to apologize, the bullying and the toxic work environment. Constant blame shifting. I definitely agree. She shouldn't even have the position of power to begin with. No, this is the wrong type of person to be in a position of power, because it goes right to their head and they use it to abuse others. The whole civil service should be on strike. I think so, because this, by Boris Johnson responding to this in this way, he's basically saying, well, if my staff treat you like crap, I'm going to defend my staff. My cabinet, I should say. Weak leadership is enabler to a toxic environment. But I don't really understand this way of treating people like crap, because I think if you treat people well, they're more likely to work. You know, imagine if you have a problem and you need people to work over the weekend. If you treat people well, if you work, you know, together as a team, even on a very friendly basis, and then, you ask people, look, can you come in this weekend? We have a serious problem. We really need your help. Most people will say, okay, I was going to go to the beach, or I was going to, go spend some time with friends or family, whatever. I know it's important to work on this project. I'll come in on the Saturday. You know, I know it's a once-off. I'll do my bit because I know, we're working together as a team. But if your boss treats you like crap, shouts at you, treats you like a piece of shit, and they say, can you come in at the weekend to help us out? Of course you're going to say, oh no, I'm sorry, I have a dental appointment. Or no, I've booked a flight or something like that. I can't get around it. You'll find whatever way possible to get out of it. I just don't understand this type of mentality. I've been, and it made me ill. I'm sorry to hear that, Andrew. I really don't understand why people act like that. And my fundamental philosophy is to treat others in the way that you would like to be treated yourself. So if you wouldn't like to be treated like crap, don't treat others like crap. I agree with you, but managing people is hard. I still think that you need, I know you will find people who are lazy, but I think you need to use some type of psychology with them. Try to convince people that it's in their interest if they work hard. And then if they don't, then you just fire them. There's no point having people on the team that are not interested in working. It was a long time ago. I'm glad that it's over. I just want to continue. So it says here, the number 10 determination to brazen out the row has echoes of the Prime Minister's handling, of Dominic Cummings' lockdown trip to Barnard Castle. The statement from Downing Street insisted the Prime Minister has full confidence in the Home Secretary and considers this matter now closed. So Boris says, it's over, okay, let's move on. Forget about it. In the same way that, Dominic Cummings went for a trip, 400 miles up the road. He had to test his eyesight as well. Let's just move on, okay? I have full confidence in Dominic Cummings. I have full confidence in the Home Secretary. Conservative MPs largely rallied behind Patel, of course, the MP for Whitnam, who was a leading figure in the Vote Leave campaign alongside Johnson and the Cabinet Office Minister Michael Gove. What is it with Brexiteers that they will rally around other Brexiteers? Like, I'm not going to support a Remainer just because they're a Remainer. If they break the rules, and I said this before, if somebody breaks the rules, for example, when we're talking about Dominic Cummings, when they were breaking the rules of the lockdown, I don't care what party they're in. I don't care whether they voted to remain or to leave. If they broke the rules, they should be punished. When it comes to Brexiteers breaking the rules, other Brexiteers jump to their defence because of Brexit. I really don't understand that. I should, and I think it's because they just care more about partisanship than they actually care about the rules. But it is annoying. It's not acceptable in a civilized society. It's a lack of confidence. They can't stand others pointing out their faults or showing them up. I think that's a very, Elliot, I think that's a very valid point, because a lot of people, not everyone, of course, I'm not going to tar everyone with the same brush, but I think a lot of people in normally in middle management, also in upper management, and you can apply this to to the cabinet as well. They didn't get their position through merit. They know that they're not very good at their job. They got it through, friends, from, contacts through friends, or they got their job because they paid their way in, or they were hired, in some companies, they're the son or daughter of the owner of the company. And they know that they're not able to do their job. They don't have the qualifications or the skills necessary. And they know that there are others, below them who are able to do it better, and they resent this. And instead of actually being honest and saying, look, I know I'm here because I know why I'm here, you know why I'm here. Let's just try and do the work. Imagine if it was Diane Abbott. Yes. Oh my God. Can you imagine if Jeremy Corbyn was Prime Minister and Diane Abbott had done this? I don't know if Diane Abbott is similar to... Diane Abbott seems like a reasonable person. I don't know. I know that her husband or partner is quite... No, I'm not going to say that because I don't know. If you break the rules in Israel, you get a promotion. It's not the time to talk about Patel's behavior. It's the time for unity. So stop criticizing us. Good evening, lady. Giro, great to see you on the stream again. In 2019, Patel was voted face. You'd most likely lovely to slap based on her smirk replacing Piers Morgan. I'm sure Piers was not too happy about that. Diane Abbott doesn't get away with anything. Yeah, no, the right wing just love taking the piss out of Diane Abbott. They can't stand even the possibility of being wrong. Anthony C, it's her opinions that are objectionable, not her face. Okay, just one last bit. This is a finding from the report. No, I want to show you this. I want to show you this video from Sky News, where they interview Matt Hancock. and of course Matt Hancock thinks he's going to be talking about vaccines and talking about the rollout of new testing, and instead he gets caught on Priti Patel. So let me check the volume. Okay, let's listen to this.
Is with us now. Hello to you, Mr. Hancock. We're always pleased when you can spare the time to talk to us. I want to talk to you about that, and I'm okay, thank you. I've had my flu jab and I feel okay about it, so fingers crossed it's going to be fine, and hopefully many people will be able to benefit from that this year as well, thanks to your government. I want to talk about your brief shortly, but first, the elephant in the room, we have to deal with that. If you could be as succinct as possible with your answers, and then we can move on to your brief. The Prime Ministerial Code, in his very own words, He says there must be no bullying and no harassment. Why is Priti Patel still in a job this morning?
Well, there is a report that hasn't been published, so none of us have seen it. But all I can tell you is that in my extensive dealings with Priti Patel, she's been nothing but courteous and kind. She's worked hard.
Courteous and kind. She's worked hard. Why is he smiling? He's always smiling. That smile is awful. Been subscribed and watching your vids for around 2 months. I read the situation. I read that the situation much as you do. How much do you subscribe to worry about the echo chamber and its effect on debate? I will come back to that, Nikolai, in a moment. But friendly, courteous, yes, kind. These are the first images you think of when you think of Priti Patel. You know, you could imagine if that, you know, if it was some sort of misunderstanding, but she has a reputation for this.
Working hard to deliver on the commitments on which we were elected, to have 20,000 more police. That was our commitment. She's already delivered.
And now, see, the automatic response is to move on, to redirect, redirect the conversation, redirect it to, see, look at what she has done. That's not the question you were asked. It was about, you know, is it, you know, the bullying. That's what we're talking about. It's not about what she has achieved or what her department has achieved. Matt Hancock does this all the time. It's like, for example, test and trace is not working. Yes, but look at how many vaccines we are going to roll out. Look at what PPE we have bought. Just talk about something else. Don't talk about the actual issue we're focusing on.
More than 5,000 extra police,
okay.
And that's what she's been getting on with.
Let's stay on point, should we, if we may. She may be polite to you because you are a peer, if not a senior to her. It's those below her that she appears to be bullying. One of them came out.
Of course she's not going to bully Matt Hancock because Matt Hancock is on the same level as her. Of course she's not going to bully Boris Johnson because Boris Johnson is her boss. Boris Johnson would say, no, get out the door. But he's not going to fire her, which is interesting. But once again, it's irrelevant. You know, it's like speaking to another junior manager and another junior manager and saying, well, has this junior manager been bullying, you know, demonstrating bullying behavior to you? Oh, well, no, they're a reasonable person. Okay, but it's the people below that we're concerned about.
The senior civil servant, Sir Philip Rutnam, saying this is what she's up to. Another one had worked all night. She, according to the report, was so unpleasant to her that this younger person collapsed.
Well, you say according to the report, but nobody's seen the report, and it hasn't been.
Okay, but this, just by saying, you know, he wouldn't you think if imagine somebody you worked with. He said he worked extensively with her. So it's not I think he made a mistake of saying, look, I don't work with Priti Patel, so I don't know really what she's about, what she's like. So I can't really respond. That would have been a better response. But he said, yeah, I've worked, you know, extensively with her. And if somebody said, you know, she treated somebody like crap and they fainted because of it, they collapsed. My response, if Priti Patel was an honest, kind person, would be, that's unbelievable. I can't believe that happened. That's impossible. That would be my response. Obviously, he knows that she's a piece of crap. And instead of saying, no, that's impossible, he's like, well, we haven't read the report yet. Can you imagine a friend of yours, you know, beat up someone on the street, was allegedly told, you know, the police made a report and they said that your friend beat up someone on the street. And your friend is someone, you know, who likes to make flower arrangements in their garden, likes to read books about kittens or something like this. And they said, what? Your response would not be, well, I need to see the report first to understand whether my friend who likes, you know, kittens and making flower arrangements beat up someone on the street. Your response would be naturally to say, no, that's impossible. Obviously, he's not defending her the way he should be.
Published, so obviously I can't comment on that. What I can tell you is what I know about Priti, and I know that she's incredibly courteous.
Incredibly courteous. So she says, "Get my fucking coffee now." Not "get my fucking coffee now." See, I'm courteous. If I say, "This office is a pile of crap," if I say it in this way, I'm being courteous. All of you are degenerates. I'm being polite. I'm not being aggressive. So, you know, courteous. So she's courteous when she treats people like crap. I beat up kittens on the street, but only because of how racist they are. Okay, monkey. He really is not helping himself. I think he doesn't really care. I think like he got the memo. Look, defend Priti Patel to the best of your ability. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll say she's courteous. Yeah, that should do. That's okay. Okay, but you know, Matt, try and be a bit more convincing. Okay, I'll say she's courteous and kind.
Have you bullied anyone?
Well, I absolutely hope not. And, you know, the way...
I hope not. Matt, Jesus Christ. Imagine somebody asking you, I'll just choose some people on the stream. Alexis, thank you so much for that. Courteous, replace R with N. Well said, Alexis. Thank you so much for that super chat. I'll just choose dude. Dude, if I said, have you ever bullied someone, would your response automatically be, well, I hope I haven't? Would it not be, of course I haven't? Really, the answers he's giving are really weird.
The way that I try to take the team forward is by being positive and encouraging, but you know,
sure.
It's what matters is what you.
Although I don't think Matt is the type of person who would bully. I don't know. Matt seems quite harmless. I think. I don't think Matt is an aggressive person. I think he's a bit over jolly, but I don't think he's and he likes to, you know, get close to the ladies, rub up against them, or watch them quite carefully. We remember that video from what was it it was back in December last year, where he was campaigning with a young lady. He had his phone sticking out of his pocket.
You can deliver for the people who elected us, and as I say, you know, the Priti has been delivering an increase in the number of police in order to keep people safe.
But that's not the issue. Has she been bullying people? Well, you know, let's look at her results. Let's look at how much she has delivered to the country. No, but the question is, has she been bullying people? Look, let's not focus on the bullying. Let's focus on how many police she has delivered.
Let's stay on point, Health Secretary.
Well,
let's stay on point, if we may. How would you know? Yeah, we know. You've told us about the 20... We know what her job is about. I'm talking about her bullying people and whether or not she has done that. I asked you whether you had bullied anyone. You said you certainly hoped not. My point is, perhaps it was unintentional, because that's what we're hearing from the Home Office and from Number 10 today. If she bullied anybody, perhaps it was unintentional. Even if it was unintentional, bullying is still bullying, isn't it?
Well, I just...
Of course. You have to say, of course, Matt. Bullying is bullying. You don't have to qualify it. Once again, you're walking into these questions. You just say, yes, of course, bullying is bullying.
I haven't seen.
But unfortunately for him, he's in a position where he has to defend something. I imagine Matt Hancock is not a bad person, okay? I'm no fan of Matt Hancock. I love this presenter, me too. He's doing a fantastic job. And poor Matt Hancock is the one who's thrown to the wolves here. But bullying means bullying. But I think look, you have to get to a stage where poor Matt Hancock is here, where he has to defend something that he would probably not do himself. He would not like to defend. I don't think he agrees with defending this. Once again, I'm no fan of Matt Hancock, okay, but deep down I have a gut feeling that he's a decent human being, and for him this is probably unacceptable. But you know, it comes from above. You have to defend the unacceptable. And he's trying his best, and he's struggling, and he's failing terribly.
Seen this report, unfortunately, which means I can't go into any more detail because I haven't seen the report. But I do know what my experience of working closely with the Home Secretary is, and the experience that I've always had working with her has been that she's nothing but courteous in getting the job done, and that's what I can report to you.
Okay, well, none of us have seen the report in full because the Prime Minister is refusing to publish the full Cabinet Office investigation at this.
That's not good, is it? Boris Johnson is refusing. He's blocking the report. So he's basically saying, well, she's been. We found out that she's been bullying people, but we don't want people to know about it. That's transparency. That's a transparent government there.
Stage, maybe that will change. Let me try once more. If in the fullness of time we discover that the report says that she did bully somebody, albeit, or several people, albeit unintentional, what should happen?
Well, that's a matter for the Prime Minister and not for me. I'm dealing with a global pandemic, and I'll leave that one to the Prime Minister. I think that the Prime Minister will make a decision based on all of the available evidence.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm sure my viewers will come to their own conclusions this morning as to whether or not you want to condemn somebody who potentially bullied someone to the extent where they collapsed after working overnight. Let's talk about the public sector pay freeze. Why?
Maybe I'm taking back something of what I said before, because, you know, I think he could have gotten around it by saying, look, bullying is wrong. It should be punished. And then, of course, the question would be, should Priti Patel be punished? And his response should be, if the report says that she was guilty of bullying, then she should be punished. Should she resign? I don't know. That's up for the Prime Minister. I'm sure that if she has done something wrong, she will be punished. Look, I'm trying to help him, because punish could mean anything. It could mean a slap on the wrist. It could mean, you know, detention. It could mean no smirking from now on. You know, this could be a form of punishment. There has to be some sort of punishment. Now for something lighter, a public sector pay freeze. Now, and I actually wanted to move on to this topic. Fortunately for me, it's in this video as well, so I don't need to change video. But let's talk about that. The idea now that the government have been talking about how essential essential workers are so important during the pandemic that they deserve to be clapped. Not just the NHS. They've talked about, you know, clapping for the NHS, but also clapping for essential workers like people who work in supermarkets, or teachers, or other staff that provide necessary services to the public. They should be clapped as well, but not given an extra an extra bit of money to survive. Lennon, great to see you on the stream. Hope you're well. Great to have you on.
Is there a public sector pay freeze, not including, thankfully, NHS workers, when people have worked so hard, like the armed services, like the fire service, like other frontline workers during this pandemic?
Well, again, there's speculation that I've seen in the newspapers, but there's no announcements made on this subject, and it's very much a matter for the Chancellor of the Exchequer, given what he needs to do on the economic front. What I can tell you is that within my area, within the NHS, people have worked incredibly hard, and I value, and the whole country values, the work that they do enormously, not just in tackling this pandemic, but also in looking after people all of the time, making sure that there is always that support there for you if you need it in the NHS.
I hope, now, I don't want to be overly cynical here, but I do hope that the NHS is getting their pay rise because Matt Hancock has called for it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't want to be overly cynical and say, no, he wasn't involved in it. This sniff head is a joke. I don't want to be overly cynical. Imagine that he wasn't involved, that it was the unions that put pressure on the government and that they won this pay rise for the members of the NHS. But everyone has, I only see a fool. Everyone has given something essential work. As Kay Burley had said, we had firefighters, emergency workers, these people who have been fundamental during the pandemic. They should actually get a pay rise as well. Why are their salaries being frozen? Why is it happening now? Because the Chancellor has run up a huge amount of debt, and instead of looking after people, they're saying, okay, now we have to cut costs. We could raise taxes on the mega rich. We could raise taxes on the rich, on just even the rich, but we don't want to do that. We want austerity 2.0. So the first thing to do is to cut or to freeze salaries, and the next would be to cut services. So cutting services is going to come. I've said this before. First is you block the salary increases, and then you cut services. And this is, once again, austerity 2.0. And it's not going to help the situation, because taking money out of people's pockets, stopping it going into their pockets in the first place, means they will not spend the money. So they won't stimulate the economy. Cutting services is the wrong approach. I understand that there's a huge amount of public debt, but there are many people who are able to avoid paying tax. They should be you need to go after those people with bank accounts in in the Cayman Islands or in Barbados. Go after those people. First go after those people, then work your way down until you get to a stage where, you know, the people who should be paying tax are paying tax.
Are you getting a pay rise this year?
Oh.
Well, as I say, these questions are a matter for the...
Fantastic. I love her. I love Kay Burley. Are you getting a pay rise? The answer is yes, I am. But I think it's 3%, is it? Or maybe it's a bit more. I don't remember. Let me do a quick search. MP pay rise 2020. Okay. So it says here in the BBC, MPs could get £3,000 pay rise under new proposals. Here's from the 27th of October. MPs haven't given themselves a three. This is actually, it's not true. This is, sorry. Whoops. This is for New Zealand, not the UK. Don't know why it says New Zealand. 9th of October, 3,000. 3,000. Well, most of them say 3,000. But this, let me double check. No, New Zealand MPs. Okay, so that's not, it's not about UK MPs. don't know why it's pounds. They use dollars in New Zealand, as far as I know. But yeah, so Matt Hancock is getting a 3,000 at least because he's an MP, but he's also a Secretary of State, so he's probably getting more. But the MPs are getting a £3,000 bonus, it seems. Folks in New Zealand, folks in New Zealand deserve a rise for the COVID response. That's true. Dr. Johan, thanks for coming on the stream. They get 4.5%. So £3,000, but you don't get anything. We're giving ourselves £3,000. Everyone in the Parliament, do you agree? Yes. Okay. We're giving ourselves £3,000. You want a pay rise? I'm sorry. Austerity. We have to, tighten our belts now. It's disgusting.
Chancellor, he's setting out his spending review next week.
Are you getting a pay rise? There are, of course,
very difficult circumstances. Well, I can't answer that question. What I can tell you is that the Chancellor is setting out his spending review next week.
You know if you're getting a pay rise. The answer is yes, I'm getting a pay rise.
And I'm afraid that on questions like these, there's a load of speculation in the papers. I can see that, but I don't know the answer to the question. We'll just have to wait to hear what he says.
I think I know the answer to the question. I think you're getting £3,360. That's certainly the pay rise proposed for MPs. You already earn more than £100,000. We're expecting public sector workers to have their pay frozen. How is that fair?
Fantastic.
Well, I'm afraid that's just not right. We don't know what the circumstances will be. The pay of MPs is set independent.
He's just trying to play the fool here, play the ignoramus. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about Priti Patel's report. I don't know about how much we're going to get paid. I don't know. Is that £3,000 a month? No, it's £3,000, I think, a year extra. Or maybe, no, it wouldn't be a month. I don't know how much they get paid per month. Also, footballers need to step up. I can't answer the question because the answer sounds bad. Perfect. The pay rise is pennies to these crooks, yes. Every Kiwi except Dan Wootton should get a pay rise. Dan Wootton should get a pay cut. Playing the know-nothing comes so natural to him. This pay rise is the least of our worries. Why can't the guy even answer a question honestly, just for once? Because he's incapable. Because he knows that if he answers it honestly, then he's in deep trouble. 100,000 only. That's look. 100,000 is difficult to live on. Boris Johnson is on 150,000, and he has to go shopping in Oxfam. Okay, he has to. If you visited Boris Johnson's home, he'd have his tea bags hanging on a line so he can reuse them again. Okay, tea bags are expensive, so he's struggling. Okay, show a bit of respect for Boris Johnson. He worries. He stays up at night. He can't sleep at night because of his money worries. Okay, and he has so many mouths to fill. He doesn't even know how many mouths he has to fill.
Independently, I don't have a say over it. That's quite right. I've never voted for on matters of pay of MPs, and I'm really glad that was sorted out before I entered Parliament.
I'm not going to do it now because it might take some time. No, we have all the time in the world. So there is a website. Damn it! What I'm trying to remember. Matt Hancock, voting record. I work for you. Voting. Let's have a quick. I don't know if it will tell us because. What has Matt Hancock voted for? I don't know. Let's see. There's taxation and employment. Just see if there's anything about generally voted against increasing the tax applied to incomes over 150,000. Very bad. Capital gains tax, business in the economy. No, I don't see anything here about. He has never voted on allowing, excuse me, he has never voted on allowing terminally ill people. Okay, so no, we don't have any. He hasn't voted for or against. Okay. No, electoral reform. I do recommend checking out this website. This is theyworkforyou.com. It gives you the voting record of the MPs. It doesn't go into a lot of detail, but environment. Okay, no, we don't see housing, miscellaneous, gambling, register. No, we don't see anything about it. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't know if he has voted for pay increases or not. He's saying he hasn't.
Because I think that it's fair that it's set independently. But these are matters that need to be properly discussed when the details can be set out. What I do know is that the pandemic has had a very serious impact on people's health, but also on the economy. We all know that, and we can all see it, and it's a very difficult set of circumstances.
I understand that, and that's obviously why potentially there'll be a public sector pay freeze. My question is, do you think it's fair that if there is a public sector pay freeze, MPs still get a pay rise?
Well, I can't get into it, I'm afraid, Kay. I'm here.
You can have a simple answer. No, we shouldn't. I'm on the side of the people. If the public sector doesn't have a pay freeze, then we should have it as well. You know, if you have any ability to vote on it, if you don't have any ability to vote on it, then your answer doesn't make any difference. But you can appear to be on the side of the people by saying, no, if they get a pay freeze, we should get a pay freeze. Doesn't matter whether he votes on it or not, because we don't have any record of it. But at least give the right answer. Think, okay, what is the best way to answer this question? Yes, if the public sector get a pay freeze, we are like civil servants. We are hired by the taxpayers to do a job. We are, MPs, the government, are like civil servants. We have to serve the public. We deserve a pay freeze as well.
Here to talk about this rollout of the flu jab. I'd love to answer the question in more detail and let's talk about it as and when.
So I just want to read Glasgow Kiss. Thank you so much for that super chat. The salary of UK, let me just move up so I don't lose it. The salary of UK MPs is not set by the government or Parliament, but by the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority. Thanks for that. But who gives them the power? Why did they decide? How did they come to the conclusion that MPs deserve a £3,000 increase in their salary? They're bad at lying too. Well, if Tory MPs, yes. If they're Tory MPs, yes. If representing other party, no. Matt Hancock goes to the stands behind the plant and then asks his question and asks this question. I think Kay Burley is more frightening than Piers Morgan, yes. And it's like, did Matt Hancock draw the shortest straw here? Who's going to go out there and defend Priti Patel? Matt Hancock again.
Any formal announcements have been made, but I don't know what those formal announcements will be, and we have to wait for the Chancellor to set out the details. I'm terribly sorry, I can't be more helpful than that.
Okay, you're a cabinet secretary, and so you have collective responsibility. So you should be able to tell us in a bit more detail. But okay, I hear what you say. Come back and talk to us when you have more information. Tell me about the vaccination rollout. Then can we really?
Okay, so I didn't want to talk about that now, so I just want to move on. But it is a bit sad in a sense for the public sector that, yeah, they're not getting a pay increase, and they're working their friggin' arses off, and you have these lazy bastards in Parliament not doing anything, and they Matt Hancock is a Tory sin eater. Yes. and these bastards in Parliament who are getting a £3,000 pay increase. Like, how did they come to the conclusion? How did this independent body come to the conclusion that they deserve £3,000? It's based on average public sector pay increase. Is an allowance. Even if this independent authority says the MPs deserve more pay, they shouldn't take it as if the public pay is frozen. Plenty of public servants deserve more pay also. The final decision on ministers' pay may not be made until December by IPSA. Thanks for that information, Glasgow. I wasn't familiar with how it works. Boris is a bit short on cash, so the more he can give MP. Is there a Labour MP who takes only the same wage as a NHS worker and gives the rest to charity? So that's Red Star. That's an interesting question because I'm not actually familiar. Maybe Jeremy Corbyn does. I don't know. But I remember in Ireland there was the Socialist Workers' Party. I think it was the Socialist Workers' Party. I'm talking about over 10 years ago. There was a guy, he unfortunately, sadly, he died some years ago, but he was No Tie Tony. I think it was Tony. I don't remember his name. Anyone from Ireland on the stream will probably remember the guy or know who I'm talking about. But he was either with the Socialist Party or the Workers' Party, and he took a salary of, I think it was 80,000 euros or 70,000 euros per year, and he decided, no, I don't need this. And what he did was he took a regular worker's salary, and then he gave the rest to charity. I think it was to charity, or yeah, I think it was to charity. And I wish more politicians would do the same. If anyone in the stream knows who I'm talking about, maybe you can but he had a nickname called No Tie Tony. So Tony Monaghan, maybe there was Tony Monaghan. But he would appear in Parliament in the Dáil without a tie. No, she's a modern Northern Labour MP, and she's quite young. Can't remember the name. Ah, yes, I remember. There was a Labour Tony Gregory. It was not Tony. Yeah, Tony Gregory. Tony Gregory. Yes. Sadly, he died some years ago. I don't know what he had some health issues, or I'm not sure exactly what happened. Okay. Let me just see. Bring up this. Okay. Before we move on, we're about halfway through the stream. I just want to take a little comedy moment take a little break for a moment. After the break, we'll come back and we'll have a look at the straw poll that I posted earlier on. I just want to show you a funny video. If you're new to the stream, welcome to the stream. You can, if you want to support the stream, you can hit me with a super chat, and I'll prioritize your comment. You can also support the stream by just smashing the like button. That helps the stream. If you want to support the channel, you can become a Patreon, and if you can't afford it to become a Patreon, no worries. I just ask people to share the videos on social media. That's a fantastic help. So let's take a little break from the madness, but the madness will return in a moment. So I'll just show you this funny video. Please work.
Tonight, we enter a second lockdown. People should immediately be designing new Zoom quizzes. A moment we thought would never come. Of course, lots of other things you can do too. Paint a room or just cry. And then there's a third option, which is the best, if you started to worry about your eyesight. Go to Bernard Castle. It's great. I would encourage all the panic buying. Our job as the government, my job, is to create absolute fucking mayhem in the shops.
Okay, so let's move on. I want to show you. So of course, let's move on to the pandemic. So we move from funny stories to terrible stories to even worse stories. So I just want to show you, many people have been asking me about the situation here in Italy. I'm planning to do some videos in the future about the situation here in Italy regarding the pandemic and some politics in general. But I just want to show you the situation at the moment is Italy recorded 699 more coronavirus fatalities on Friday, up from 653 on Thursday, and more than 37,000 new infections. In Italy, the situation is pretty grave because certain regions we're in different in the different regions we're tackling the pandemic in different ways, and while some parts of the country are doing quite well, others are doing terribly. And there was a bit of a scandal surrounding an elderly man who died in a bathroom recently, and he had been lying there for about half an hour before anyone discovered him. Hospitals in the south of Italy are at breaking point. They have suffered over the last number of decades from underfunding, so many problems, problems with the mafia, problems with corruption, terrible mishandling by government officials. It's a desperate situation there. And then people, just today, someone told me about a situation where there were members of mafia gangs who would steal oxygen tanks and attempt to sell them on the street. This is how bad the situation is in Naples, for example. I don't know how we can sort that out. And unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Did you know anyone that does a good Nigel Farage impression? Do you know anyone? I don't know any. I'm not going to attempt, I promise. Can't tell the difference between real Boris and deepfake Boris. This US is averaging 1,500 COVID deaths a day. Could be over 3,000 by February. Thank you, Donald Trump. Johnson is correct. Don't miss out on the opportunities of the second lockdown. Oh my god. Can't tell, but yeah. Hey Max, are you ready for vaccination in early 2021? There are at least 2 vaccines on the way, and with 90% efficiency. I think they finished the trials with about 50,000 participants. I will take it. Yeah, I'm not afraid to take it. I don't know which one is. It depends on which one is. Well, it doesn't depend on me. Depends on which the Italian government decide to go with. But I think it's going to be something European Union decided. So if the European Commission or the European Parliament will decide. But I think they're buying up a lot of both types at the moment, to be sure. Was ever thus in Italy? Well, post World War II, North and South Italy are very different places politically. Shame such a beautiful country. It is true. Yeah, that's true. It's a desperate situation here. This pandemic has really exposed the contrast. Okay, let's move on. Let me bring up the other link. No, where did I have it? Okay, about of course what's happening with Brexit. So I just want to talk about a little bit more about Brexit today. So Brexit deal close to being finalized, EU ambassadors told. Now I was talking about this on the channel today, and we were a few days away from seeing some sort of deal, I think. Either a deal or absolutely no deal. So it says here, a trade and security agreement with Great Britain is close to being finalized, but the risk remains of an accidental no-deal Brexit in 6 weeks, with gaps on the continuous issues slowly shrinking, EU ambassadors have been told. With Michel Barnier in self-isolation after an EU negotiator tested positive for coronavirus, the talks will be conducted almost entirely online over the next few days. The European Commission's most senior official, Ezil Jansson, told representatives of the 27 member states in Brussels that the majority of the 11 key negotiation issues now had joint legal text with fewer and fewer outstanding points. Like in the video that I was talking about today, it seems that we're at 95% of the deal. Now, it's weird how you can get to, did we have 100 points to discuss and we're at 95 of them? How do they calculate 95%? The two sides are also zoning in on agreements on EU access to UK fishing waters and the design of a mechanism to ensure that neither side can distort trade through undercutting standards, so the level playing field. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen offered fresh calls for optimism during the press conference. After weeks of very, very slow progress, we now have seen in the last days better progress, more movement on important files. This is good. So I'm of the idea that, and in the video, I don't know if you guys had seen the video I dropped earlier on, I think if she's positive about this, then I think we're going to get a deal. 93 left. Devil is in the detail. I believe the detail is 95 in the the deal is 95% in the oven. Brexit will destroy the UK. It will. Yes, EU have pre-ordered all the vaccines except one. That's funded via hedge fund in the Cayman Islands. Probably yes. Johnson has to concede to getting anything. So watch out for more U-turns. So in the video I talked about how if Boris Johnson is able to sell it in a particular way, if he's able to say this deal delivers on our sovereignty, this deal takes back control, I think he'd be able to sell it to Parliament. Because the Brexiteers don't know what they want. Some of them say they don't want any deal. But some of them say that they do want a deal. But the deal must respect British sovereignty. We must be able to control our fish. And again, as you guys say, the devil is in the detail. But I think he needs to have something that he can sell to Parliament. And I think he has spoken to Scottish Lass. Great to have you on the stream. And I think he has spoken to the EU and said, look, please give me something. I need something to convince the Brexiteers, the ERG, that I have defeated you. And they say, okay, yeah, whatever, Boris. We'll you sign off on all these things. And then once you get it through Parliament, then, it'll be somebody else's problem. That's my impression, and I could be wrong. Oh no, not fridges and ovens. I hope it won't stick. It won't stuck at 95%. You'll need to press the reset button. Brexit bill loading, stuck at 95%. He sells fishes to Parliament. Deal has been done for percentage done for years. Just the Tory red lines and the IMB to go. Yeah, so, but I did think it was interesting, David Frost's comment in his tweet about sovereignty and taking back control. They mean nothing. They're empty slogans. So how, Boris can say, look, we took back control. Look, I protected sovereignty. Just keep banging on about that, and then he'll be able to say, look, I delivered it. And nobody be it's unfalsifiable in a sense. Sovereignty was never under threat. So if Boris Johnson says, "Look, I brought back sovereignty," it's very difficult for Brexiteers to say, "Oh no, he hasn't." I've protected sovereignty, I should say, or I've taken back control. You always had control. So for most people, they won't know the difference. Fishing industry is gone. It was sold off a long time ago. 99% system error. Apparently you need to be a lass to be greeted. No, conservator, don't be so. I try and greet everyone. I just see a name pops up and they say hi. So, welcome, conservator. Thank you for coming on the stream. I'm sorry I missed you earlier on. As long as they don't need any of that pesky tax haven transparency. But bozo.exit not working. Please restart software installation. Please reinstall your Commons software. Boris will bring out a plate of fish bones. Sovereignty and taking back control are soundbites for the stupid. I agree, David. It's language that is useful for, you know, if you look at the Brexiteers you see on YouTube. Look at how 404 deal not found. I love all of your software jokes. Has executed an illegal instruction and will be terminated. Prepare to reinstall from backup. Illegal being the word, yes. The internal market bill. It goes on to say, with the framework of the level playing field, progress, for example, has been made on the question of state aid. So this was a big sticking point, and they say that they've made progress on it. There are still quite some meters to the finish line, so there's still a lot to do. I think she doesn't want to give away too much here. Doesn't want to say, look, we've achieved it and it's done. Even if they have achieved and it is done, you need to run down the clock for both sides. I think there were timelines where the timelines are concerned. Time pressure is high without any question at the moment. There's a lot to work on because there is a substance. So this is basically what she said in the video I uploaded today. It's understood that the UK insistence that it needs to be able to set its own environmental, labour and social standards without any prior approval remains difficult, as does the definition of current standards from which both sides say they will not regress. Yes, so the UK has said we're not going to change our standards, and the EU said we're not going to change our standards. So the details of the treaty dispute resolution system are also proving hard to trash out, with the UK wanting fisheries to be outside any sanctions regime, because they want to be able to continue to use it as a political football. To say, oh, we're protecting it. But if there's a legal text that says, no, you're not protecting it, it's not going to be protected from sanctions, then it's going to be difficult to sell. This is all about selling it. It's not about the actual details itself. A UK official said, although there has been some progress in recent days, there is still much work to be done, and time is now very short. We now need to see more realism from the EU on what it means for the UK to be an independent state. Once again, this independent is another one of these buzzwords. We want to be an independent country, and I see Brexiteers coming up on, posting on the channel as well, saying, oh, we're now an independent country. We want to be an independent country. We want to be, we want our sovereignty back. And I respond to them and I say, and I shouldn't respond because I shouldn't respond to trolls, but I sometimes, I can't get, and I know Killer is pointing a finger at me at the moment, but I give in and I respond to them and I say, does Germany not have sovereignty? Does Italy not have its own sovereignty? Are these not independent countries? Why is it only when the UK was a member of the European Union it didn't have any sovereignty, or it wasn't an independent country? Do you know if the government Maunas says, do you know if the government were to decide an extension of the transition period is necessary, could they legally do it? No, the transition period cannot be extended, but there could be an implementation period, which is separate. Respect my sovereignty. Mad Max. So no, the transition period can't be extended. It finishes at the end of this year. It's impossible unless something changes dramatically. But it would require both the UK Parliament to extend it and the European Union to extend it. The parliaments in the European Union. So that's not going to happen. Unless Boris Johnson, said, "I am Jesus Christ," and I demand that we extend the transition period, and the UK Parliament says, "Yes, Jesus, we'll do that." But that's not going to happen. It's not impossible, but doesn't matter what word you word it. No, it needs. You could have a transition, not a an implementation period. So that could be something, and I think that's going to be the case for some parts of the agreements. Could you ask Brexiteers what sovereign nation means? I told him when I said one of these guys, I said, "But is Germany not a sovereign state?" And his response was, "I don't care." I don't care about Germany. I was like, that's not a. You're suggesting that the UK was not sovereign anyway. It's a bit pointless trying to argue with them. Brexitimists, Brexit. I can't say the word. Would believe Bojo if he claimed he was God. What is it? The Holy Trinity: Boris, Jacob, and Nigel Farage. I think everyone should point a finger at Tiny Demolition Lover. What has Tiny Demolition Lover done? European Parliament mutters Jesus under their breath for a different reason. Yes. No EU country are free, sovereign, or in control of its destiny. Why? Because they don't have Max's calendar. Yes. Free the world, liberate the calendar. We have to stop talking about the calendar. Okay, just continue with this. We're getting sidetracked. EU sources have said it's increasingly optimistic that an agreement could be found, although time was said to be a concern. This is something that doesn't make a lot of sense. So, people will agree something, but I don't think time is the word, because in what way is time a problem? Somebody will agree something or they will not. They already know whether they will accept something or not. So for example, if we look at fishing, Boris Johnson knows if he will accept the situation regarding fishing. He can try and push back against the EU, but if the EU said, "Look, this is our position. If do you want a trade deal or not?" Wasting time isn't going to make them change their position. So I really don't understand what they're talking about when they say time, unless what they're talking about is there is a lot of things that have to be agreed. Okay, do you agree this? Yes. Okay, next one. And there are so many of these things to agree that there isn't time to tick all the boxes. One EU diplomat said there is tangible progress on a number of areas, while gaps and other slowly shrinking on core areas, issues like the level playing field, governance, and fisheries. Growing concern that the negotiation process does not proceed quickly enough to ensure the ratification of a possible agreement until the end of the year deadline. Hope is nevertheless that negotiations can be finalized quickly if and once the necessary political decisions are taken in London. I think there's so much that has to come after any agreement. It has to be translated, it has to be scrutinized, and I think that's one of the problems. But I still feel, and I could be wrong here, but I still feel that Boris Johnson will get a deal, because the EU will say, look, something like, we need, if you want a deal, Monday at 12 o'clock is the time. And, for example, and because after that, we need to have it ratified. We need to have it translated. We need to have all of these things. So Monday at 12 o'clock, for example, is the deadline. And Boris will be like, oh, well, you know, I need to think about it or whatever. And then what will happen is at 11:59, somebody from Brussels will call number 10 and say something like, is Boris going to agree to this, all of this, or not? Now, yes or no? And Boris or someone representing Boris will have to say yes or no at that moment. If they say yes, okay, then we start the ball rolling. If he says no, then everything comes to a grinding halt. And that's it. And then see you in January. That would be the response. I think that's what's going to happen. And then Boris will, will say no. And then he'll think about it for about 10 minutes. And then he'll say, give me a phone and get Brussels on the phone. I think that's probably what would happen. And they say, yeah, but what about the ERG? And he say, I'll deal with I'll worry about the ERG later on. I think that is probably how it would work out. I'm boycotting English products. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Technically, it would be a deal. It would be something. I think he'll get something. They'll say, look, we can't agree everything now. We'll have to wait until January for these other things. So what we've agreed, the 95% will agree it. And then we'll deal with the rest of it next year, because we have to ratify this part. So I still think he'll get some sort of bare bones deal. Max, what are your thoughts on how do you come to terms with the echo chamber note? Oh, okay. So you had asked me about that before. I don't delete comments on the channel. The only people I hide from the channel are people who are trolling. But if people ask legitimate questions, I welcome that. I've actually had many discussions with people on Discord, on the stream here. Sometimes the stream is not the best place to do a discussion because it's not interesting for everyone else, especially if I'm doing a talk on something. But it would be, I would like to do in the future maybe a debate on something. No, I'm not a professional debater. I'm not an expert on many things. But we could have a high-level debate on some topic, EU membership or politics in general, or if it's something interesting, we could organize some sort of debate. And that would be interesting to do. I don't want an echo chamber, but unfortunately, echo chambers tend to form around particular issues. So, yeah, man, on Discord, I think it would be. I think it's not. If you go to a Brexiteer channel, 99% of the questions or comments on that channel will be pro-Brexit. So it's a type of echo chamber as well. I think that's just a normal aspect of our human interactions. It's difficult to break them. It's the responsibility of the owner of that platform. So I'm responsible in a way for whether this becomes an echo chamber. But I try not to. The only people I generally block are trolls. People who just insult me because of the way I speak, or insult me because I'm Irish. There's no point engaging with those people. But I try to engage with people who disagree with me on Brexit or disagree with me on politics in general. Max blocks trollers. Boris blocks EU trollers. Max, no Brexit, no Tory voters. We'll have a discussion. James O'Brien pleads with them to call in. It takes a lot of guts. You notice that the people, you never have quote-unquote experts call in. So, for example, Jeff Taylor, I imagine he's never called in to Boris Esu, to James O'Brien's channel, James O'Brien's radio station. Jeff is the go-to guy for Brexit. If you're a Brexiteer, why doesn't he call James O'Brien's show and explain how great Brexit is? Do you understand that normally the people who call in are people who have no understanding of Brexit. The people who do have an understanding of Brexit will generally not put their reputation on the line. Now, I understand, if Jeff did call in, I'm not criticizing Jeff, I'm just choosing Jeff Taylor as an example. Or Andre Walker. If Andre Walker called into James O'Brien's show, he would be decimated. But maybe, and I've said this before, I think Andre Walker is just really a satirical channel. I don't think he's being serious. He had the MAGA hats, he had the Go Trump stuff, and now it's all been removed. I think he's playing a character. Now, I've seen him interviewed, and he still believes the same things, but maybe it's part of a persona that he has created. And he's feeding into a narrative that he knows that he's not going to be challenged on. Jeez, other than Jeff. Bit of a stretch calling Andrew Walker an expert. No, that's true, Graham. It's just the first names that come to mind. What's your opinion on those robotic voices that seem to fuel Brexiteer anger? I really don't understand how these channels get so many viewers or subscribers. So these are funded by some sort of think tank. Because these robotic ones are because what you do is you copy. They're probably doing is they're copying. They're getting somebody to write up a paragraph of text, maybe taking something from a newspaper or whatever, and they're pasting it into a talking voice machine, so it just reads the text. And what you can do is you can pump out hundreds of videos this way. And it doesn't require anyone to speak, because if you're speaking and you can identify it now because I'm making mistakes or I have to take a breath or making mouth noises or whatever. If you have a computer voice doing it, you don't have anything to worry there. You just pump out these videos all the time, and somebody is doing this not because they care about Brexit, because if you cared about Brexit, you would speak yourself. It's much easier just to put them into a machine. And I think there's maybe somebody is funding this. I don't know who. Maybe it's Aaron Banks or someone. But it's interesting how a lot of them have appeared recently. Jeff is a bad animatronic talking bot. Can't be any worse than Alex Jones, Shapiro, or Levin in the States. They're completely mad. I don't know Levin, but I know Alex Jones and Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is really weird. Like Alex Jones, at the beginning I thought he was doing it to sell, was it muscle oil or something? Max, I disagree with you on quite a few points, but mostly on how people in the world today, as it has become, logic does not convince people how. People who follow populism, muting. Those are not the solution. No, I don't mute people. The only people I mute are the ones who insult me personally, because there's no point engaging with somebody like that. But if somebody has a position, I've welcomed people who have a position on Brexit. They don't normally come on the stream, and I understand that because you're going into the lion's den, not because of me, but because of the other people on the chat. It's if I were to go on a Brexiteer channel, I would be alone, and it's intimidating. So I understand they don't come on here, but if somebody wants to engage with me, I'm very willing to do it. Jean, good night. Anyway, let's continue just with the last part of this. If the treaty only involves EU competences, it will only need consent by the European Parliament. But the process is complicated when it affects areas where national parliaments have a decisive role. The deal, even if it includes both EU and national competences, could provisionally be brought into force on the 1st of January, with the national parliaments ratifying at a later date. But member states are seeking time, at least for their MPs to debate and debate the detail of the deal in the remaining month and a half. Month and a half is not a lot to debate that deal. I think there's going to be so much in a comprehensive deal. There'll be a huge amount to talk about. There may not be a lot to talk about if the EU say Boris Johnson has compromised on everything. Then they're like, oh, okay, all right, just wave it through. Officials dismissed suggestions that the EU Parliament could give its consent after the 31st of December. It's not being considered, said one source. So we'll have to wait and see whether Boris gets a deal and what type of deal he's going to get. Now, I want to, of course, move on just across the water for a moment. I'm really happy that a lot of... Now, before we move on across the water, I just want to read quickly part of an article from The Guardian here. I just posted here. This maybe we can do another time. It says here, UK-sourced PPE from factories secretly using North Korean slave labor. Now, this is one of the concerns I had at the beginning of the pandemic. Many countries are desperate to get PPE, so they're willing to cut corners when it comes to workers' rights, when it comes to environmental standards. And this is extremely concerning. So it says here, Guardian investigation finds evidence that Chinese PPE factories supplying UK government are breaking UN sanctions. The British government has sourced PPE from factories in China where hundreds of North Korean women have been secretly working in conditions of modern slavery, according to evidence uncovered by The Guardian. The Guardian's findings indicate that hundreds of thousands of protective coveralls ordered by the Department of Health and Social Care have come from factories using North Korean labor in the Chinese city of Dandong. The 3-month investigation also found evidence of North Korean labor being used in factories exporting PPE to the US, Italy, Germany, South Africa, Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and Myanmar. It is claimed that the North Korean workers in Dandong, who are mostly women, work up to 18 hours a day with little or no time off. They are under constant surveillance and are unable to freely leave the factories. Sources indicate that the North Korean workers in PPE factories in Dandong have about 70% of their wages seized by the North Korean state. You can imagine that they're not earning a lot of money anyway, but 70% of it is taken by the North Korean state. Little Rocket Man is stealing from these people. The workers have no days off. They're not allowed to go out. The North Korean state controls them. They take their money for the country. The sooner this guy is overthrown, the better. The UN has branded the export of workers to foreign countries by the North Korean regime as state-sponsored forced labor, defined as a form of modern slavery by the International Labour Organization. The findings suggest that the UK government may have indirectly funneled taxpayers' money into the pockets of Kim Jong-un and his brutal regime, which the UN has said is guilty of widespread and gross human rights violations, accounting to crimes against humanity. Now, I'm not criticizing just the UK government here. It's also, we see countries such as the United States, Italy, Germany, South Africa, and so on. As I said at the beginning, because we were so desperate for PPE, we were willing to take them from wherever. And this is unacceptable. And I hope, now I don't know whether governments in these respective countries knew about that. But it is very concerning. Hashberry, good night. Thanks for coming on the stream. Yes, let's have a look at the straw poll before we finish. I want to bring it up on the screen now. Let me copy it from my browser. But I just wanted to talk about that quickly because I think it's extremely concerning about the desperate measures we're taking to get access to PPE. Okay, let's have a look at the results of the straw poll. So the straw poll asked, do you think Priti Patel will eventually be forced to resign? And 61% of you said no, 26% of you said yes, and 13% of you said not sure. Not a big surprise. I think yes. She's not. I agree with this. The results here. She's not going to be forced to resign. I think there may be some pressure mounting on her, but Boris Johnson did not fire Dominic Cummings, so I don't see him firing Priti Patel also. This is awful. Yes, it's not. The poll is rigged. I'm taking this to the court. The Tories are destroying the UK, and it's heartbreaking. The UK government bought from pest control experts and hedge funds, so quite a bit further down the supply chain. Oh, I missed the straw poll. I say no. Thanks very much, Artemis. Great to have you on the stream. Yeah, she's not going to be punished. She's not going to resign. We demand a recount. Okay. As we're talking about recounts, as we're talking about polls, of course, we have to go across the sea, across the ocean, to the United States. Let me bring up this. I'll leave the poll there for a moment. So in some good news, Joe Biden wins record 80 million votes as Trump persists in trying to overturn the result. Donnie, are you ever going to give up? So rising Biden tally and his popular vote lead overshadowed by Trump escalating his false insistence that he actually won. So Joe Biden is approaching a record 80 million votes, with ballots still being counted, and having already recorded the highest number of votes for a US presidential election winner, as Donald Trump persists on Thursday in denying the result and trying to overturn it. Did you see, guys, the horrible image of Rudy Giuliani? I'm not going to bring it up on the screen because maybe some of you are eating. I don't know where you are in the world, but maybe you're eating, so I'm not going to bring it up on the screen. But the horrible image of Rudy Giuliani melting on screen. In a gigantic turnout of the US electorate, Trump has now got a record number of votes for a losing candidate. With more than 155 million votes counted and California and New York Democratic bastions still counting, turnout stood at on Thursday at 65% of all eligible voters, the highest since 1908, according to data from the Associated Press and the US Election Project. It's interesting that I would imagine 2008 would have been higher than 1908, when Obama ran. The rising Biden tally and his popular low vote lead, nearly 6 million votes, has been overshadowed by Trump escalating his false insistence that he had actually won the 3rd November election, and his campaign and supporters now intensify efforts to stop or delay results being certified by state officials. What's interesting as well is that Trump has been asking his supporters to help fund a campaign, numerous campaigns, to take certain states to court to overturn the result. But if you actually look at the fine print, I remember, I don't have it on the screen now, but there was a tweet about this. If you look at the fine print, it's basically what Trump is trying to do is he's asking his supporters to help pay him back. I've talked about this before. Trump lent money to his campaign. His campaign has no money left, but it still owes money back to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump could just, forgive the debt, but he doesn't want to do that. So he's convincing his supporters that he needs money to fight his legal battles, when in reality he's not fighting legal battles. And instead he's asking his campaigners to help refund the debt that he ran up for the campaign. It's ridiculous. And people are donating, of course. Only donations over $8,000 are added to the current legal fight. Thanks for that, guys. Campaign donation, first 8,000 goes to Trump. My God, what a disgusting individual. Donald Trump Jr. just tested positive for COVID-19. Wow. I won't say hooray. I'm tempted, but I better not. Maybe Giuliani and Trump should compare hair dyeing tips. What the hell was Rudy Giuliani using? Boot polish. Trump is stalling to cover up his scams and scandals. Yes, I agree. Deutsche Bank is suing Trump for 200 to 300 million after he leaves. He's in deep doo-doo when he leaves office. Who? Trump asking for money? Yes. Trump invested in Trump. That's bad business sense. Well said, John. Yes. Yeah, you have to see the Rudy dropping the case against Michigan. An explosive affidavit actually mixed up statistics with from Minnesota voting against Michigan county populations. In 1918, Eugene Debs got over 100 million votes for the 10 million votes for the Socialist Party, and he was in prison at the time. So there might be hope for Trump in 2024. Pasquale, great to have you on the stream. They tried before, but Trump threatened to sue Deutsche Bank with the backing of the US court. Trump should try to bring out a brand of whoopee cushions. Yeah, that would be a good idea. You can find Trump toilet brushes. Maybe we could start selling them. He could start selling them on eBay, or not on eBay, on Amazon. Trump toilet paper as well. 6 jailable offences after the White House. Let's hope that this is the case. Let's hope that he is eventually jailed. I think there's a lot of people queuing up at the White House waiting for him to leave office. Alex Jones will run in 2024, my prediction. I'm not going to laugh, Mark Nicholas, because anything could happen. Literally anything. Trump, White House to jail. Let's hope so. Trump is extremely damaged child. What excuse do his enablers have? They see him as a platform. They see him as, if you keep him happy, he'll give us nice stuff. And you just have to keep him happy. You say, yeah, you're up in the polls. Everyone loves you. You're a wonderful, look at the disgusting display. I was almost vomiting when Nigel Farage was talking up Trump. It was just, a couple of weeks ago, where he was he's talking about how such a wonderful individual Donald Trump was. Karen in 2024. They've noticed Trump's hair has gone from blonde to grey. No explanation. It's distress. Trump theory is Biden won't jail. They won't want precedent of presidents being held accountable. No, well, I think it's not that it requires Biden to put Trump in jail. What Trump does, he could ask Biden for a pardon, but I don't think that would happen. But there's nothing. If there are civil cases against Trump, if there are criminal cases against Trump, that's it's not Biden's responsibility to look after him. To keep him happy, just give him some themed merchandise. Like a little doll or something like that. Okay, guys, we're towards the end of the stream, so I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. But don't go yet, we have our one for the road. A big thank you to the moderators who've done a fantastic job tonight. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who sent a super chat. Greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for that. Do recommend checking out the merch store if you like. There are some funny merchandise on the merch store. Do recommend if you have the possibility to become a patron, you get access to Discord, and we have a lot of fun on Discord, a lot of debates and discussion. And if you can't, just share the videos on social media. That's a fantastic way of supporting the channel. So I want to wish everyone a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, but don't go yet because we have our one video for the road. I want to say thank you to everyone for coming on. It's been a massive success, these live streams, and I want to improve them in the future. As I said before, maybe to introduce also other people onto the streams, get other YouTubers involved. That could be a great help as well. It could be interesting for you guys. It's important that it's an exciting, interesting debate for me, but it's also interesting for all of you. So let's go to our one for the road. Short and sweet. No, not that one. Whoops. Where is it? No. Oh, crap. 1 month. Damn it, I posted the wrong link. Here we go.
Frank, get the door! Right, you. Out, you arsehole. Fuck a lot of you. Fuck you all. I'm leaving. I've got all the evidence I need, Boris, in this box. I'm off to Durham, and I've got my hamster. The fucking hamster's mine. You'll all be sorry. I'm going to be writing on my blog. Get off, Dominic! Get up, you! Now, fuck you, Carrie. Wait till you see what I write in my blog. The violins will be out.
Fantastic, fantastic. So a big thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. Thank you so much. Fantastic stream. Great to have everyone on. Thanks so much again for the moderators for keeping the stream on the straight and narrow. And I want to wish everyone a fantastic weekend. See you all next week on Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:30 GMT. And as Boris Johnson always says, stay alert. And I'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend, guys. See you soon. Take care.